Hi, my name is Joyce Kennison and I am a student at Liberty University. This is my interpersonal communication project for HS 508. Stewart defines interpersonal communication as the kind or quality of contact that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize presence of the personnel. One aspect that changes interpersonal communication today is the fact that interpersonal communication not only occurs face-to-face, but nowadays with texting, Facebook, email, and Twitter, these are also topics where interpersonal communication can take place. Peterson, in his book, Why Don't We Listen Better, describes communication in two levels: sharing information and connecting with others. Communication and listening. Communication in the Oxford English Dictionary is defined as an imparting, conveying, or exchange of ideas, knowledge, and information, whether it's through speech, writings, or signs. Listening is defined by Burley Allen as a method of talking in information from speakers, other people, or ourselves while remaining non-judgmental and empathetic. Burley Allen also describes listening as a learning skill, where the first step is to realize that effective listening is an active, not passive process. Stewart describes communication in the form of inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling is perceiving and listening, where exhaling is considered to be the expressing and disclosing. I really like this concept because if you think about it, when you take a breath in, you take in air, and when you exhale, you release air, just as his concept of communicating. Stewart defines perception as a social and cognitive process in which people assign meaning to sensory clues. He also adds that perception occurs through three basic sub-processes which occur simultaneously as inseparable events. These processes include selecting, organizing, and inferring. Selecting describes the decision of what level of consciousness that we use to pay attention to certain clues. Organizing is what it is, the process of how we organize clues that is selected from the speaker. Inferring, to conclude, judge, or go beyond the evidence. Exhaling, as I had previously said, is expressing and disclosing. Stewart uses this metaphor, exhaling, to describe the output or sending part of communication. Exhaling occurs when we open and self-express with others. Openness has two sides, according to Stewart, who describes disclosure as being open with others as a means of building a good relationship, and open to others as a means of listening to their disclosures in an accepting way. In order to be open with others, one must be aware of who you are, accept yourself, and take the risk of trusting others to be accepting of you. My overarching goals is to become an effective listener in an effort to reduce not only my stress and tension, but the stress and attention of those who I am communicating with. Second is to advance my level of listening from my current level 2 to a level 1 listener by not judging the talker and seeing things from the speaker's viewpoint. Not getting distracted and acknowledging and responding to the speaker, in addition to paying attention to the speaker's total communication. Enlarging the conversation. Enlarging the conversation are things that we do to enhance or continue the conversation. Stewart defines several aspects that we can use to enlarge the conversation. One is meaning, is what you consider and how you define communication. Choice are the choices we choose to make related to our ethical standards. Culture is how we identify culture, because culture can affect our overall understanding of communication. Identities is the ways we are ourselves and who we are. Conversation is verbal and nonverbal exchanges in real time. We must consider eye contact, hand gestures, posture, and facial expressions in communication. And nexting is doing something helpful to make something happen next. During this course, I took an interpersonal communication skills test. My overall score was 58, which is average for communication skills. Strengths that was identified in this skills test was that I was insightful, I had excellent listening skills, I was comfortable dealing with emotions, I had average communication skills, and I was somewhat assertive when talking with others. I also performed a behavioral blends through a personality assessment test. The behavior blends "this is me" and "expected of me" was this is me was CSI. Some of the positive aspects of this was people see me as inspiring and impressing both to crowds and individuals. Another was I generally like to influence and interact with people, but I can also withdraw and concentrate on specific projects. The SD, what is expected of me in my SD, positive aspects are people expect me to have a lot of drive and determination, and I have a lot of stick-to-itness and steadiness, which means I get things done at my own pace. Now the negative aspects of my behavioral blends, this is me, which is my CSI, is I seem to get into ruts and worry when relationships are shaky. And I can be very positive but sometimes struggle with moodiness and pessimism. The SD, expected of me, negative aspects include people sometimes find me hard to read, and under pressure and stress I can abuse the tendencies that allow me to control my emotions, and rather than taking control of my emotions, I sometimes let them get out of control. Potential barriers. Potential barriers are divided into physical barriers, which are physical things that happen to influence one's listening efficiency, and somatic barriers, which are influenced by our individual beliefs, knowledge, education, and upbringing and experiences. My physical barriers include that I admit I'm easily distracted. I experience flight of ideas. I get thoughts about what I'm supposed to be doing or what I have to be doing next, or what the kids are doing at school, and get distracted from what the speaker is presenting, and fatigue. Somatic barriers is I can be somewhat judgmental, and I am more of the interrupter style of listener, and I need to learn to just listen to what the speaker is saying, take notes, and clarify at the end of the presentation instead of continuously interrupting the presenter. Noise pollution are those events and situations that influence, interfere, or distract listeners from listening to what the speaker is saying. These items can be either internal and external. Internal noise pollution are situations that cause internal noise, such as cell phones ringing, alarms, overhead speakers, even clicking of heels from women's high heels, and especially side talk or side communications of people who are in the audience. External noise pollution are those things that happen outside. You know, children playing on the playground, cars going by, sirens, horns, alarms. Those are all things that can be distracting to the presenter and listeners. Solutions to control noise pollution is, before starting the presentation, making announcements to say, please turn off all cell phones or alarms, or, and ask anybody who may be making overhead announcements to please limit the announcements to only in emergencies. Close the doors to the room where the presentation is being presented. Make sure that the speaker speaks loud enough for everyone to hear, and if you have difficulties in hearing, make sure that you stand close to the talker so that you can hear them. Another thing is to keep good eye contact with the talker, because sometimes eye contact and facial expressions will give you hints of what the presenter is thinking. Stay focused on what the talker is saying. My plan of action. In an effort to meet my goals of becoming a level 1 listener, my plan of action includes: attempt new listening skills. Just because we do certain skills every day and perform certain skills every day to try and listen, there's always means of an improvement. And not being afraid to learn new skills and attempt new skills just shows that you're willing to take risk to become a better listener. Search for something that I can use when a presenter is presenting something. You tend to gain and retrieve your attention span when you're interested in what the speaker is saying, or if you can gain from what the speaker is saying. Work at listening. Listening is hard, and you need to learn to pay attention and listen to what the speaker is saying. Make meaningful notes. I said that I was an interrupter type of listener. Instead of interrupting, make notes, and then at the end of the presentation ask your questions. And practice. We all know that in order to improve, you must always practice, and through practice you become better. This has been my interpersonal communication project for HS 508. I am Joyce Kenneth, and I want to thank you for taking the time to view my project, and have a nice day.